come on, we all know that tune right there in the background. What's going on, everybody? Let's also say what's up to Lottie Dottie. It's your boy Retro with you on this evening for another Retro Philosophy Biker edition. Yes, indeed. Look here, it's been a long day. But I'm grateful because the start of the week has been nice. I mean, yesterday was well, actually, yeah, yesterday was nice, and today was just as nice, if not nicer. And I'm grateful to be here. I hope you are as well. Go ahead and hit that share button. Let your homie know that we're on live tonight. Let your homegirls know that we're on. And we've got a very intelligent young lady who's here with us on tonight. We're gonna find out who she is. Well, I already told you earlier. It's Icy from NC's Finest. Look at here, y'all get ready, get your popcorn. I'm gonna let this music play for a little bit, give you some time to go get your popcorn, your bonbons, your juicy juice, whatever. Because tonight's show is gonna be juicy. It's gonna be good. All right. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I had to refrain from getting in it this morning because I tell you the topic, we got options. Hashtag we got options. It's just awesome. So make sure you let your boys know, let your homegirls know that we're live on tonight, and we need you to blow up the comment section today with your questions and your comments. And so without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and prepare to welcome officially Miss Tiffany, aka Icy, and she is president of NC's Finest. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Icy on tonight. Yes,
hello,
indeed.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, how you doing, Tiffany?
I'm doing good.
You're doing good.
Great.
Can you hear me good?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Want to make sure you can hear me. I can hear you. And so, first of all, I want to say thank you for accepting the invitation. I know you're a busy woman. I know you got all kind of stuff going on, and but thank you for taking time for little old me to just get on the Retro Philosophy show on tonight and show some love. And so tonight we are going to be talking about the topic. We got options. I love it myself. I was trying to get a hat made in time. Hashtag we got options, and but I I guess I waited too long or too late to make it happen. But I think I'm still gonna get me a hat, at least a T-shirt that says hashtag we got options. So when you log on, folks, I need for you to hit the comment section. If you do, if not, then you just have to sit tight. But put in the comment section hashtag we got options. I know it should be we have, but we got options. Okay, we got options. So again, thank you, Tiffany, for joining us on this evening, and welcome to the Retro Philosophy Show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity to share.
Yes, absolutely. So
yes,
I've noticed you on social media, and I will say this. What I've noticed about you, Tiffany, is that you strike me as a very professional individual. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about who Tiffany is.
Okay. Well, Tiffany is first a mom.
Okay.
Of a 17-year-old son,
Nice.
Keyshawn, and Tiffany is also a registered nurse of 24 years,
Nice.
Celebrating that. The official date is the 15th, but, so
kind of like your birthday, you just take the whole month to celebrate that accomplishment, right? I see you. I got you. I got you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what's up.
So, real exciting time for me,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also the president, like you said, of NC's Finest Motorcycle Club. We are, we've been around since, 2005, 15 years.
Okay, nice.
So I've been on the bike set a while.
Nice.
Been riding since 2004. So that's definitely a big part of me, who I am as well. Just all around, I think, good friend, cool peeps,
Mm-hmm.
So like to think I'm multi-layered.
Yeah, multi-layered.
Yeah.
Okay. So why would you say you're multi-layered?
Well, I've had to, some by choice, some not by choice, had to wear a lot of different hats. Personal life, professional life, bike life, and you know, some of that was a little painstaking because I guess I felt like I had to be one way, you know, and I've never really been one to like be put in a box. I say that's another one of my favorite sayings. So I had to learn to be able to, be flexible, um, adjust,
Hmm.
let some things roll off your back, you know. So I think all of those different qualities is what make up my layers.
Okay, okay. Well, I can definitely respect that, and I can also understand that. So you said, um, was it pressure to be a particular way?
Um, yes, I would say. Well, I can start before when I was in high school. Everybody always told me um, you need to be a teacher or you need to be a nurse.
Hmm.
That's just what I always heard. I understand now why, because you see certain things in certain people, but I didn't understand then. And so, being a strong-willed person,
Okay.
I was determined I wasn't going to do those things just because people told me that's what I needed to do. I
Right.
felt like they were maybe somehow making those choices for me.
Hmm.
And that wasn't it at all. It was that they saw something, you
Okay.
know, something in me. So it started there. And then, in nursing, being an educated, strong Black woman, you've got. Um, you've got ways that they feel like we should be. And when we try to make our own way or when we speak out about things that are not right, we're perceived as something that we're not, maybe
Hmm.
aggressive or hard to coach or, all the things that they use to try to
Yeah.
describe us in corporate America. So I've experienced that over the years professionally. And then in bike life, I would just say, coming in as a female club,
Hmm.
I'm sure you've heard it's a man's world. And I understand that to a certain degree, but I will say that one of my biggest um, achievements with my club is the name that we have, the reputation.
Okay.
It's not of a typical one that you may see some female clubs being described by as being loose or easy to get or just
Hmm.
hunting for men or whatever, however you want to say it.
Okay.
um I've always been really big on image,
Okay.
and so you know I, I'm a firm believer if you're going to have a reputation, it should be one you create yourself, not one that somebody gives you or feels like you
Wow.
should have.
Yeah, I like that.
So
That's really powerful, Tiffany. That's powerful right there.
yes, so that, I mean, I can apply it to all different um areas of my life, personal, professional,
Hmm.
bike life, all of it.
So let's talk real quickly. Someone puts a reputation on someone, and now they feel they have to live up to that reputation. Why do you think that's so? Why do you think someone would allow someone else to put a reputation on them, and they feel they have to live up to that?
Um, I think a certain amount of a person's motivation has to come within,
Okay.
and everybody does not have that.
Hmm.
So sometimes people are looking, they're, rightfully so. Sometimes people are looking for guidance.
Hmm.
Sometimes they're seeking knowledge. Um, Sometimes they're just seeking some sort of direction. They don't have a lot of direction, or they may have low self-esteem or low
Right.
self-worth, you know, and in that search, they may encounter a person that, or people or group of people that doesn't have their best interest in heart.
Mm-hmm.
And they recognize that and maybe pray on them and say, well, okay, this is the way you need to be. But it's not necessarily geared toward what that person needs or wants. It's what
Right.
that group wants them to be. So again, you can apply that to any, a lot of different areas. We have
Yeah.
a saying in nursing that nurses eat their young.
Explain that.
Okay, so so I'm a nurse educator. That's what I do a lot of right now. So
Uh-huh.
I encounter new nurses in school,
Okay.
learning to become nurses.
Uh-huh.
And it just seems that when some of us get, and I say us because we are one, when some of us get out of school, we may get a few years under our belt. We may
Mm-hmm.
get some experience, and we may, instead of nurturing the new nurses coming in, we try to get them to conform to the way we want things done, or we view that they should be doing things. There's a lot of cliques
Mm-hmm.
in nursing, believe it or not.
Oh, I believe it.
So, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced it a lot. And again, being a Black nurse,
Mm-hmm.
there's just not a lot of us. And so, you experience that from nurses of other races. Usually the people that are in administration, decision makers, they don't look like us.
Okay.
So, you find that the pressure needing to be like a certain group, so
Mm-hmm.
you can keep your job, so you can feed
Right.
your family. So sometimes it's out of necessity,
Okay.
but then sometimes it's just lack of direction, lack of self-worth, or just sometimes you just find it easier to go with the flow. You don't want to make any waves.
Right.
So I've never really been that way. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
very sensitive to that. And I just seem to, I'm overly sensitive. Well, maybe not overly, but I'm pretty sensitive to those types of things. And I think that's why my nursing career led me to teaching. I
Okay.
want to be able to nurture those
Yeah.
new nurses,
Yeah.
even nurses they may have been nurses for years, but they
Mm-hmm.
may need a little more education or a little more training in a certain area.
Right.
That doesn't end because you get a few years under your belt. I'm still learning.
Yeah. Yeah. And when someone thinks that they have learned everything, then they really have just become dumb, in my opinion, because we're always learning. But there's a saying that I'm not going to say I live by it, but I live by it. Each one reach one, each one teach one. And so you mentioned a while ago that sometimes people will prey on individuals, and in my opinion, when they do that, it's so that they can serve a purpose or do what's going to benefit them, but not necessarily help the individual who they're preying on.
Absolutely.
And so you mentioned the nurses and the nursing field, they eat their young. So you, with your teaching spirit, you with your, being who you are, how do you combat that, and how do you address it?
Well, it starts by building a good foundation. You have to also have a mindset of being advocates for each
Okay.
other. If you see a group of nurses, trying to inflict certain viewpoints, or, if you see them eating their young, then you have to be willing to stand up and say, well, hey, maybe that's not the way that you should correct a new nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it happens a lot. In nursing, you make mistakes, or you may not do something just right by the book when you're learning. But instead of using that as a teachable moment, or encouraging, or pointing it out with guidance and nurturing, some nurses are quick to report you or write you up or,
Okay.
things like that. And I'm not talking about life or death things,
Right.
but that it happens a lot in that type of scenario. So being an advocate, you can step in and say, well, hey, let's make sure she knows what she is supposed to be doing. Let's be fair.
Right.
In most situations,
Exactly.
in most situations, you can just about assume that a person doesn't know, or maybe they can be re-educated. If you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
So I would like to think that in most situations, it's just something that a person just doesn't know.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned, number one, you mentioned the fact that your NC's Finest was a great accomplishment for you. But I like it. That wasn't the first thing you used to describe, who you are. The first thing you said was, I'm a mom. I'm a mom.
Yes.
So I want to ask you some of the things that we're talking about now. How have you empowered and equipped your son with some of these very same scenarios that we're talking about now?
Okay, so he is a rising senior.
Nice.
And he's in early college, so it's a 4 or 5 year journey, just depending on a few different things. But we are actively, like as we speak, talking about what his plans are beyond high school, early college, and I am actively teaching him and showing him. And that's why I do so much, because I want to set a good example for him.
Okay.
I want to be a person that he admires, not the only one, but I want to be one of them.
Right.
But we talk about, okay, son, if you go this route, with your education, then you can do this.
Okay.
Or if you limit it or dumb it down, you may only have this opportunity, or you might have more competition. You may get passed over more if you only do this singular focus. I try to get him to look at how a certain type of degree may get you here. It may take you over there. It may take you there. But at the end of the day, add something to it to where maybe one day you can work for yourself. Don't prepare yourself to work for someone else for the next 30, 40, 50 years and then you retire.
Right.
So, as I say, knowledge is power. I'm equipping him with things that people can't take away from him. Good. Education, his options. So he has options. He can do this. He can do this. So that's really important. It's a challenge to get a teenager to think that way.
But I think that if we expose them to things like that earlier, I mean, it may not be easy because I can remember what it was like then. But if they're exposed to it earlier, it's easier than waiting, in my opinion. And so I want to congratulate you for doing what you're doing the way that you're doing, because I think it's important that we expose our children to options. I've got 2 kids and they're both completely different. And so my point is, for some kids, college may be the answer, and for others, it may not. So, I think it's important that we expose them to options and then give them, space to make their choices.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because, no matter where you end up, you need to have a plan.
There you go.
You need to prepare. So that's how we're kind of working.
That's good.
Working on him right now.
So I want to talk about options. Before I do that, though, I want to talk about NC's Finest real quick. Why NC's Finest? Why that name?
Oh wow. Each letter of that means something.
Okay.
Oh gosh, integrity. I can't think of it right now, but each letter has a meaning.
Okay.
So when we did the, and I should know that, I'm bad for that, but
That's
I'm kind
okay.
of on
Okay.
overload right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it when we developed our club, we did go through, we have a mission statement, we have a purpose, we have meaning.
Mm-hmm.
I know the T stands for tenacious. I know the I stands for integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, I can't think of it right now.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
But
No pressure.
it was important to do something with meaning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't do much without it meaning something.
Right.
I'm
Right.
just not that type.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it was real important for it to mean something because, as I stated, we are already in a male-dominated arena, lifestyle, however you want to call it.
Do you think that's still factual? Because you got a lot of women that are riding.
It maybe not necessarily, but the mentality's still there.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
So we still kind of have to fight for our places.
And how so?
Well, even to be recognized, to be viewed as lady bikers that have a mission, lady bikers that do community service, lady bikers that cross these state lines and do all of these things that some of the guys are doing. It's not for competition,
right?
But we don't love it any less, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But we can still take care of our children, have careers, and so forth. I just think we brought a lot more reality to the scene, if nothing else, because we're able to do all of these things.
So how difficult was it for you to get the NC's Finest up and going? And how many of you guys in the beginning?
Okay. Actually, it took some time, but we were kind of fortunate because we had, at that time, one of the OMCs, they had a clubhouse here in Statesville.
Okay.
So we were, friends, knew, at that time we knew the president because he was from this area.
Okay.
And, he would just kind of invite us and, everybody around town to come and hang out. And it was just through hanging out and learning about the culture, learning about the clubhouse. We had membership cards. He done a lot of things the old school way.
Nice.
And so when we started, riding, there were several of us that were riding, but we didn't really have any form, as far as a club. But when we started riding, we did have him as a resource in his club. So they kind of nurtured us. So we didn't have too big of a hurdle. We had to wait our time and everything, but we did get some good knowledge going into it. And I've always been appreciative for that.
That's good. That's good.
But I will say, once we started venturing out, because we had, 20 some members to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be honest, they were in different phases of riding. We had brand new riders. We had ones that were kind of just learning. They didn't really have a lot of seat time.
Okay.
So, and then we had us that had been riding in XYZ. So we caught a lot of flack because of things like that, which at the end of the day, I think it was just a means to we were kind of new, and a few people, thought they could probably manipulate us as a club and do things that their way.
Okay.
But we just I really had my head on straight, and I knew what I wanted. I had 5 founding members.
Okay.
No, actually, excuse me, it was 7 founding members. 5 are still with us today.
Okay. Nice.
So, we did get together on things, and we kind of knew how we wanted things to be, with the guidance, of course. So I think our biggest hurdle was being accepted as women riders first.
Mm-hmm.
being accepted because who we identified with, well, I'll just say this. We visited a lot of different bike sets. We're in
Mm-hmm.
Statesville. There's really not there's no bike scene here.
Okay.
So everything we done, it was out of town. You know, we were either on the Charlotte set or the Winston-Salem, Greensboro, Raleigh set. So it
Mm-hmm.
took us a while to even figure out what set we most identified with.
Okay.
And so we were kind of an outlier. We, you
Mm-hmm.
know, we didn't have 20 clubs in the same city.
Right.
I think we only had 3 at that point when we got started.
And in Statesville,
Yeah.
are there and how many are in Statesville now? Do you know?
Active, 2, just 2.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, there's some riders from all of the clubs that still
Right.
ride.
Right.
But
Right.
as far as the club, just us and one other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but not a lot at all.
So NC's Finest, you had a few hurdles, but you also had some good guidance. Hey, what's going on, Nick? Thank you for pressing play and being with us on tonight. We've got Icy on, and we're just chopping it up here, talking about options, and we're getting ready to dive into that here in a moment. But she's the president of NC's Finest, and 15, 16 years in the game, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys have been holding it down. I'm sure you've had some ups and some downs. And so does NC's Finest have options right now?
Yes, we do. We are currently re-exploring those because, again, you know, we're women, and just as a whole, my view is that women, sometimes we don't deal as well with life challenges as far as I'll just say this. When there's things that I don't like, if I'm going through something at home, getting on my bike and being hundreds of miles away from home, that's probably a low priority.
Okay.
Whereas a male may, you know, they may have a maid at home or somebody that can kind of hold the fort down. That's very different from the women's perspective, whether you have a husband or whether you're single.
Okay.
You know, so life happens. You know, we've been through divorce. We've had a member that's lost her child, parents dying, family members dying, illness within. So we've dealt with all of that. And last year, 15 years, you know, we were kind of revisiting some things, and then COVID.
Right.
So,
nasty COVID.
So right now, just to be honest, we are relearning some things.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
And refocusing.
Yeah. And I think that this is a good time to do so.
It is, because we're all 16 years older than we were when we started.
And a lot's changed in 16 years, or at least it should.
Yes, things are a lot different. But because we put in the work, because we have a good reputation, because we are genuinely good people, and because we kept our sisterhood intact, we have options.
So you guys, you say you kept your sisterhood intact. So you guys are doing more than just things on twos. So is that what you mean by that?
Yes.
Okay.
We still do our community service. We have a highway that we clean up. We still get together at least twice a year and do gift baskets or something for someone in the community, usually around the holidays. Nice. We still travel together. We've attended church together. We still do some bike events together. You know, we had like just a sisters female trip last year.
I think I saw some of that on social media.
Yeah. We attend our kids' graduations, games, cookouts, whatever, family reunions.
So let me interrupt you and ask you this, Icy, if you would. How important is it to do stuff outside of bike stuff with your sisters?
It's very important because if had we not, I don't think we would have survived. Because as I mentioned, life happens,
And it happens fast.
and everybody's getting older. This is male, female. So if you don't have a connection outside of your bike life, what happens when you can't ride anymore? Or what
Mhm.
happens when you go down and you're hurt and you can't ride? Or what happens when your bike is in the shop, or you fall on financial hardship? A lot of
Mhm.
people have their certain views about things like that, but life happens.
Mhm.
And one thing I don't care is when someone's already having a hard time. You know, I don't believe in making that harder just because you've got some rules to follow somewhere.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think you need to be considerate and all, and look at each situation on a case by case.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you've got to have some rules to make things flow, but at time, I mean, who can tell a person how much time they need to take after they've lost a parent or a child?
Right. Right. Right.
What? How long would you tell somebody you need to be back out here riding in this amount of time? I mean, I'm not comfortable doing that.
So let me ask you this, Tiffany. How important to you is it to reassess some things that you already have set up? Because, and the reason why I ask that is because I think sometimes we come up with laws and they're etched in stone. We approach them as though they can never change. But as you said, 15 years, 16 years in the game, you've matured, you've gotten older. A lot of stuff has changed personally, socially, and sometimes financially, for the better or for the worse, who knows. And I think sometimes laws can be be looked at, because that's why they have the thing called amendments, right?
Yes, yes. Well, let me just say this: We're not speaking tradition and protocol. I get that. That's your standard.
Right.
Now, what I learned is that your bylaws or whatever group of rules, that's always a working document.
Mhm.
That's the way I learned it. So as you see the needs of your club or group, then you should be able to bring your group together and address that. You know, some things just don't make sense anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
um, so, and like I said, we're all older. You may have a different mission or a different goal. I mean, you may want to add some things, because one thing I've learned about riding, because I do ride outside of my club, I have people that I ride with outside. I
Hmm.
think that's important as well, is you learn so much,
Yeah.
you know, and if it's something that I feel like would be enhance my club here at home, then certainly I'm going to bring it back,
Right.
and I want them to be receptive and open minded rather than saying, oh, well, no, we can't do that. It's not in the bylaws.
Right. 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 Just in case you're just joining, we are honored to have with us Tiffany, aka Icy, president of NC's Finest, and we're just chopping it up. We're talking about options, and so we're appreciative that she, accepted the invite to come on the Retro Philosophy Show, Monday Night Biker Edition. So, Tiffany, with that said and done, what does it mean? I know we've been talking about options, but just in case someone's just now joining, what does it mean to have options? What does that mean?
Um, well, in personal life, in professional life, in bike
Hmm.
life,
Hmm.
whatever area of life we're speaking on, it's important to have options because, you know, there's a lot of guidelines, restrictions wherever you go.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Especially for us, there's a lot going on in society related to minorities and African Americans and males and females and, all different socioeconomic groups. So it's important to have options, because if you don't, then in a lot of ways, you'll be forced to conform to things that are not,
Wow. Wow.
are
Forced to
not,
conform. Yeah.
yeah, you know, because you don't have um, the will or the desire or the self motivation or even the tools.
Okay.
You know, sometimes it's a lack of knowledge. You know,
Hmm.
that's a huge tool.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you can conform to something just because you don't know. You don't know
Right.
any better.
Yeah.
Um, so it's important to have options. I think it does a lot for self worth to feel like you're productive in whatever you're doing.
Hmm.
You can
Jonathan.
best do that with options.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Jonathan Wins, he's watching with us. He says, "Good stuff. Thanks for sharing tonight, and we thank you for pressing play, sir." Tiffany, I'm going to make a statement. I said it this morning. I'm going to say it again, and I want to get your viewpoint of this. And my statement was simply this: It was my only choice, but not my only option. What does that mean to you?
It was
It
my
was my
only
only
choice.
choice, but not my only option.
Okay, so again, you know, just depending on what scenario, and I'm going to use probably professional life
Okay.
or even bike life. Sometimes we think we have to be a certain way to be accepted, to
Mm-hmm.
be looked at a certain way. We Everybody likes to have a little status,
Mm-hmm.
you know. It feels good. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you want to be respected, you want to be loved. And so sometimes we do things uh, based on trying to achieve that status or that feeling that we've arrived or we've made it. And we make that choice. But that's true when we go back and look at it. We could have gotten there in a different way,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So what that means to me is that just because something appears like you only have one route
Mm-hmm.
or one path, then, you know, consider equipping yourself with different tools, knowledge, change your surroundings
Yeah.
because you do have some options at the end of the day. You know, there's
Absolutely.
more than one path everywhere.
Do you think anyone ever only has one option? Now, whether or
No.
not they, okay, because see, whether or not they take
Mm-mm.
advantage of another option doesn't mean that there are not other options. And so
Correct.
it was my only choice, but not my only option. Case in point, you're in high school, getting ready to go to college, right?
Hmm.
And usually you have, one, two, three choices.
Hmm.
Um, and so I choose A&T, but I got approved for A&T, UNC, and maybe two or three other colleges. Now I
You
only
got to say
chose.
Winston-Salem State.
Okay, Winston-Salem State. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, there you go. Okay, that was the other one. You're right. That was the other
Yes.
one.
Okay.
And so I chose one or two, but had several options. And see, sometimes I don't show you every option that I have because some of those other options were not my first choice. And I think it's sad when someone makes you their first choice and you don't um do what's necessary. But anyway, let me digress. Let me digress. So it's important to have options. And I think that this applies in almost every area. So let me ask you this. We talk about professional life. We talk about personal life. We talk about bike life. I mean, for crying out loud, we can throw in church life because
Hmm.
don't let folks fool you now. Church ain't a whole lot different from any other set. I realize the bike set is the bike set, but there are certain things in every walk of life that are similar in some respects or some regards. With that said and done, what thing is it that you would say overlaps in every area of your life? So you're at work, you have a dynamic. You're on the bike set, you have a dynamic. You're, and so every, different walks of your life, the same dynamic proves to be, visible or evident. What would you say that is?
Um, distorted. Um, there's a distorted view in a lot of different, things. A lot of times things are not as they appear, and it
Okay.
doesn't distorted doesn't necessarily mean bad.
Right.
Um, but I've always been one to kind of want to know why something is this way. I'm not just going to take it for face value, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know more. I'm going to dig deeper. Why
Should we
is it
take it
that,
at face value?
right?
Should we?
Why? No, I don't
Oh,
think
okay.
so.
Okay. I don't either.
No.
I don't either.
No, I don't think so. But I just think society in general,
Mm-hmm.
the pressure. There's pressure. There's a lot of pressure.
Okay.
It's professional. That's probably a more common theme, I think. Pressure.
Okay. All right. I can rock with both of those actually. So we've got distortion, and we've got pressure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about what options are, what options is, and in my opinion, I guess we could add, having options equals having choices, because as you even mentioned, you don't want to be stuck in a box, you don't want to be stuck in a box. And we may have already touched this up, but for the sake of it, what's the importance of having options? If I have multiple options, what does that do for me as a person?
Well, it empowers you.
Okay.
It puts you in different situations where you can further educate yourself,
Mm-hmm.
Or you should be educating yourself. Experience. It allows you to network with other people, build productive relationships.
Okay.
Which are really important. I think it gives us a sense of, enjoyment, fulfillment.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think it's awesome having options because, and in my opinion, it relieves a level of pressure and stress and things like that.
Uncertainty.
Yeah. And I also think it puts you in a position where you just don't have to take no mess. I mean, if you're on the job, they barely paying you enough to come to work as it is. And but you don't have any other options. You ain't got nowhere else to go. So you're gonna put up with it. And I tell my kids this all the time. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And when you feel like you have no other option, it robs you of your negotiating power. That's real talk right there, and so when you have options, you can say, well, I really don't have to take this. I mean, I will if I have to, and I can if I have to, but I don't necessarily have to, and I think that's powerful.
Yes.
I think that's powerful. So in your professional world, how has having options allowed you to, to matriculate in your professional life?
Well, it has really made me feel like my career has been fulfilling because I always wanted to do a lot of different types of nursing. I wanted to do a lot of things. I had no intention of getting one job and working 30 years and that's it. So I've done a lot of different types of nursing. So it's been very fulfilling. It has also helped me to navigate through some tough situations, knowing my worth, knowing that I had options, knowing that I didn't have to accept being treated this way.
Okay.
Knowing that I didn't have to take less money. Knowing that I too had the right to a management position or, I'm capable of educating new nurses, people that don't know anything about nursing. That's really fulfilling to me that I am able to now share what I've learned.
Nice.
That to me, that's it. That's the ultimate reaching back and bringing somebody else up, in my opinion.
Nice.
I mean, education it's hard,
Hmm.
especially educating adults that have lived, they have life experiences, and they have their views on certain things. Um, I've had some people older than me in my class.
Hmm. Hmm. That's
Um,
always interesting.
I've had some gentlemen in my class.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had people of different cultures and origins, but having that, me equipping myself with options over the years. I mean, it's been a steady process,
Hmm.
consistent.
Hmm.
It requires that, but it's allowing me to do all these things now. Um, so now I can share other people at how important it is to have options. Don't a lot of people will ask me, well, where do you work now? 'Cause right now I'm working managed care, which
Okay.
insurance.
Okay.
So a lot of people say, well, do you work at the hospital anymore? I say, well, no, I haven't worked in the hospital. I've kind of had some positions where I might have to visit there just for what I'm doing, but I haven't
Right.
worked in the hospital for a number of years. And I said, well, you're still a nurse, aren't you? Well, yeah, nurses can do a lot more
Nice.
than just work in the hospital at the bedside. That's only
Right.
a
Right.
small piece of it, you know.
That's a good piece right there, Icy. I mean, it really is because a lot of people, a lot of times, if we're not careful, we'll be doing something, but
Mhm.
we'll only barely scratch the surface in terms of what else we can do. And I think it's important that you say that. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about NC's finest. Let's talk about, because what I'm getting at is how much of your professional life do you bring over into the bike life in terms of your viewpoints and trying to advance the club.
The compassion,
Hmm.
definitely, because life happens. We
Yeah.
cannot do anything about that.
Hmm.
Um, I think my professionalism, um, it gets me a lot of respect.
but but
Um,
but but we're bikers, we don't need to be professional.
yes, we do.
Oh, we
We
do.
should. We should.
But we bikers, all we got to do is twist throttle and just cross state lines.
Yeah, but someone may stop you. You
No,
may
I
need
agree.
to.
I agree. I'm just playing the devil's
You.
advocate. Yeah. I agree 100% because here's the thing where you talk about, look, I haven't been in the hospital per se in a number of years, but I'm still doing nursing, and I think that a biker should do more than just twist throttle. I think that a biker, let me put it this way: if you have a motorcycle ministry or a motorcycle club, you should at least have some people in your club that can go down to the mayor's office and handle business if something came down to it. You see, I should be able to conduct myself beyond just a throttle twister, because when you really think about the MC set, right? Look at you, for instance. You're celebrating what, 24 years as a nurse, professional,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and so we've got doctors, we've got lawyers, we've got, the list goes on and on and on, and so in my opinion, I think it would be great if we would embrace what you just said, the concept of what you just said, being able to go beyond just the surface of what we do and who we are, if that makes sense.
Yes. 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 I think it deters a lot of what could be productive members of the bike community. You know, I think that's a deterrent.
Okay, elaborate.
Well, professional people,
Uh-huh.
more than likely, they're going to do their research. They're going to do their homework. And if they see that, a bike club that just kind of, now your focus should be riding. Let me clarify that. But, some clubs or organizations, they portray
They do what?
they portray
They do what?
they portray
Okay, I
this.
just make sure. Okay,
They,
okay,
yes, that's what I said. They
okay, all right.
portray this image that they ride 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365.
Yeah.
They could be a good organization, but the way they are presenting themselves can be a deterrent. You know, someone may be coming in, they may be looking to ride, yes, across state lines, but they may also be looking to have a brotherhood or sisterhood. They may be looking to do more in the community. Um, how are you interacting with the community?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I learned is that is what old school OMC clubs did.
Uh-huh.
So I mean,
Interacting
this
with
is
the
not
community.
something. Yes, that's
Right,
not
right,
something
right,
that I made up.
right.
So you know, but you know, somehow we've gotten away from that. So people that are going to do their research and really like you should before you
There
consider
you go.
joining a group or
There you
whatever,
go.
hanging around, it can be a deterrent. You know, I think that's why some clubs are stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because they're not. You say you've taken new members, but the what you portray is that you're not approachable. That you're not doing anything for anybody. You know, the community.
Let me ask you this, Tiffany. You said earlier that your bylaws should be a working document, right?
That's
And
the way I learned it.
right. Now, if you are a club, and I'm trying not to get in any muddy waters here, but if you are a club or an organization, and you're taking on new members, does that change your club?
It should enhance your club.
Okay, so I'm going to take enhancement is a change. I mean,
It
I'm
is.
not saying that it's going to change the core of it, but you know, and because you know, anytime something new is added to something, it should, let's use the word not change, but let's use the word enhance. You know, and
Evolve. Yeah.
evolve, and I get it. Sometimes you take on new people and you don't really know them yet. It takes time to get to know people. And sometimes what they bring to the table or what they represent may be different than what you bring to the table or what you represent. And I found out now I've been in church for a number of years. Okay. And I'm talking about, I think it applies to both, but nevertheless, sometimes we are really afraid of change.
Right.
You know, I think sometimes we're really afraid of change, and I think that we need to understand if someone's looking to join whether it be a MC, a MM, or RC, or whatever it may be, a SC, then they should understand, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but they should understand that they have options. You know, there's not just one club, you know, and the first one you check out might not be the best fit for you. You know what I mean? And so, you know, we've got options. We've got options.
Yes. And you should have. You know, everything is not for everybody.
True.
Now, I will say this: as clubs, we should be more open to some change.
Yeah, I would agree with you. But
for a person that's looking, you know, you definitely need to make sure you got options.
Yeah, and I can understand both sides because you know, trust has to be built. You know, I'm not just going to entrust certain things into somebody without them being proven and things like that. So it's going to be a little give and take on you know, from both perspectives or what have you. But I think that's why it goes back to something that you said several times throughout the show. You said sisterhood, I say brotherhood. You know, that stuff is important. And and I think there's a different kind of brotherhood / sisterhood that's built on the road as in terms of one that's built just, you know, at the crib for a cookout or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because when you're on the road, you there's a there's a certain level where you feel you've got to perform, you've got to be or do or whatever. But I think there should also be some time where you just let your hair down, as they would say.
Yes.
See each other for who you really. Yeah.
Balance. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think options are extremely important, and because we can, we can mess around and we can get stuck in a situation where we will be taken advantage of, and more ways than one. But so yeah, so options, man, it's important to have them. It's important to have them. It's important to know that you can have them.
Yes.
So let's see here. So you mentioned that you guys are relooking at some things. Do you have anything that you can share with us in terms of some goals that you have for MC's Finest? Where do you see MC's Finest in the next 5 years from now?
I would say get back to basics, writing, community service. That's pretty much your basics. One thing that I've always enjoyed is the bike events and platforms where you can learn.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm just using it as an example, the Pro Convention, which is in North Carolina next year. Yeah. And we've always been a club to participate in that because you can learn a lot.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of different viewpoints. Mm-hmm. So some activities like that, again, reviewing bylaws, just kind of reconnecting, and honestly, some check thyself. Is this something that you want to continue to do anymore? Is this something that we want to continue to do? I mean, let's be realistic. All these things sounds good, but if you don't want to do it,
right.
Because my life is changing, and it's going to go on, whether and not that we're going anywhere, but it's going to go on whether NC's Finest continues or not.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just from me personally, but I've always said that, that's nothing new. So I just kind of need to know, for my own, what can I expect? What's realistic for me? I'm building a business. Hopefully we'll be very busy here. So just being realistic, learning some things, getting back out there on the road and learning some things again.
Okay.
Every time I get on my bike, I learn something.
Nice.
That's why I do things outside of my club, so I can continue learning.
Right. And then bring back to them, as you even alluded to earlier,
Absolutely. Yeah.
What if time and money was not an option, what would be your next trip?
I would eventually like to do some variation of the 48, 50 states.
Okay.
I'd like to do some international stuff eventually. So
okay. We've got It's coming. We got a couple comments. We got Moose on the line with us tonight. Thank you for pressing play, VP. He said lots of people say they like change, but do not want to become change makers. That's big right there. And Moose has been in this thing for a minute. So respectfully, I consider him an OG. You know what I mean? And so this statement, I'm sure, is not just a statement, but you understand what I'm saying? I'm sure he's got, situation after situation where he can refer to. And so I think that when you have someone who's been in the game, who has been around for a while, those are the ones that, in my opinion, you need to, as they would say, sit at their feet. You know what I'm saying? Hear some stories, take heed to some advice, so on and so forth. So Moose, we thank you for chiming in on tonight. And and it's people like him And as you said, the gentleman, and I'm not actually to mention any names, but the gentleman who kind of, showed you guys some things, you know what I'm saying? We need people like that. We need people like that will take time to not so much tear down, but build up, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you do things wrong or you don't do things right. And but it's not intentional. It's just because, you just didn't know. And as they say, when you know better, you do better. We got Sellers Boo Davis on the line tonight. He says the reason, where we go? Okay. He says the reason some members leave and start their own MC club or MM because the MC or the MM didn't want to change a few things that probably could have made them better. And so now we got a whole nother conversation getting ready to ensue. Because I think that there's some wrong on both ends, Brother Sellers. I think we've got to be careful not to just want to up and go start something because we couldn't get our way, because it didn't go the way. And it maybe you were right in terms of what you were after or wanting. But there's still that thing called relationships. So I think there's got to be a meeting of the minds, and so I do get it. Sometimes you do all you can and it doesn't work. So you feel like you have no other option. But I think it shouldn't be just because it's your first choice, if that makes sense. Can you want to elaborate on that, Tiffany?
Yes, I'd like to. Thanks, gentlemen, for your comments. I agree with what, both of them saying, but another point to that is that sometimes as leaders, we are not the best at empowering or allowing our club members to work their assets, to the club. You may have a person that's better at certain things, but as leaders, if we are so got to do it my way because I'm the president, I'm the leader, we miss out on the gifts that everybody brings to the club.
Right.
So again, I agree. We do have to. Sometimes we are not willing to change because we don't want anybody threatening our role or our status as a president or a leader. So I think as leaders, and I'm saying this because I do it, we have to reevaluate ourselves. Are we being a good leader? Are we being a productive leader? Not because you're the one that started the club and you want to hang on to it because you've done all the paperwork to get, your 501c3 and all that kind of stuff. I've seen clubs shut down because they no longer wanted the president, but because they done all the paperwork, they wanted to just shut everything down.
Wow.
So, I'm saying all that to say, as leaders, we need to look at ourselves. Are we utilizing the gifts that our club members bring? Are we letting them work? Or are we just dictating a bunch of orders and they're following what we want done?
Do you think this is a conversation that is being had? And if not, do you think it needs to?
Probably not as much as it needs to be. So I guess that answers both questions.
Right.
Yes,
right.
It needs to be had, but I will say not as much as it should. And again, I think it's very individualized. I know there's clubs that keep the same president. I know there's clubs that rotate their presidents. Even with that may be a good thing, but sometimes consistency and continuity, it's important when you're going through certain phases. If you've done a lot of work on something, but it's your time as president is up, and the next person doesn't have a totally different viewpoint or just wants to change things just because it wasn't done by them, you got a problem.
Right.
So, all of this, to me, it needs to be looked at for the betterment of the club. You know,
Mm.
we sometimes we make rules on top of rules.
We make rules for rules, and then rules for those rules, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and it distorts the whole purpose. It wrecks the vision of the club. It can do a lot of things. Um, have a negative impact. It makes people feel devalued. They don't feel like their opinions matter. They don't feel like they're an asset to the club. So, we got to look at ourselves as leaders to make sure that's not happening. Give them some options.
Well, there you go. There you go. Give them some options. I do think that it is real talk. I think that this is something that is applicable beyond just the bike set. I think some of the issues that are there are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And because I certainly see them in church. I certainly see them in church. I do. And it's really sad. Let's see here. We got one more comment, and then I know you got to get about your night, Tiffany. So we're not going to keep you all night. But Nick Holly, he's actually the president of the Ohio Kingdom Knights, and really, really, really good brother. We're looking forward to seeing him next month. But he says, that's truth right there. Allow your people to have a platform to express themselves as they grow. And because I know we did something at church one time, and it was called Power in the Pews, where we allowed anyone who wanted to participate to be able to do so on the fifth Sunday, because sometimes you'll be surprised who has a particular ability that's normally just sitting in the pews. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you allow them opportunity, and maybe the first time it may not go with that good because they've never got to express it, they've never got to but I think that as leaders, we must make a conscious effort, not just to lead our people, but to empower our people.
Yes.
And I think a good way to do that is to expose them to options.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk real quickly, and then I'll let you go. Tell me a little bit about the difference between Tiffany and Icy. Is there a difference?
Yes, there is.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So, Tiffany, she is, again, mom and, professional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about my business. I want to secure a legacy for me, my family, my son, something that he can carry on. Icy, that's kind of two more people in one.
Okay, two more in one. There you go.
But Icy, she's the biker. She's still about her business. She's still professional when she needs to be. But I guess I was a tomboy growing up. I played basketball in high school. Pretty thorough basketball career. My last year was state runner-up, so I was pretty heavy in the basketball. Translated that into riding. I love to ride. I really do. And it's really has been a fulfilling. Riding. It brought me through a couple of rough patches. Growing up, as far as becoming a woman, a new mother, a single mother, so forth. And it allowed me to kind of have an outlet, I guess.
Okay.
And I've met a lot of like-minded professionals, ladies, a lot of even made a lot of connections, business-wise, just because of motorcycles. So it's opened a lot of opportunities for me. And I'm very straightforward, pretty blunt. So I guess that's the biker part of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I can be just as cool as you are. I don't do I don't do nonsense very well. Um, I usually tell people, it kind of depends on you whether you get, which version of icy you get.
Right,
I can
right,
be
right.
kind of cold if I need to. I don't like to do that, but um, or I can be just as cool. So it just depends. I'm pretty easygoing. Um, genuine person, consistent.
Okay, okay. I think those are two great words, actually, especially to be used in conjunction: consistent and genuine. That's pretty dope right there. Um, Moose, he says, "Yep, leaders should make new leaders, or you're an epic fail in your leadership." And I happen to agree with you, Moose. I happen to agree with you there. I was taught that you should do a good job at teaching yourself out of a job. I should,
Mhm.
in other words, I shouldn't be the only one in my circle to do what it is that I do. If for whatever reason something were to happen to me, someone should at least be able to carry on until someone else, fills that position or whatever. I think it's an epic fail. I will speak from the church perspective. I think it's an epic fail, and I'm sure that applies to the motorcycle set as well. I think it's an epic fail when the leader moves on, whether he transitions, from this life or whatever, and then the club or the church falls apart. Nobody was groomed. Nobody really knows, how to handle this type of business, and it's sad. So I have no problem following. I like to watch. I like to observe. I like to learn. I'm a very strong individual as well. But I don't have a problem being an Indian,
Right.
and so I think in order to be a good leader, you got to know how to be a good follower. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
My wife is watching. She says, teaching while leading. Yeah, you got to teach while you lead, and sometimes, I've got a boss, my boss right now on the job that I'm working over at Tilly's. He's about the same age as I am, but he's a cool dude, and I really respect his management style, because out of the blue he'll say, "Hey, check this out," and he'll begin to explain what he's doing, why he's doing, and see, he's a master tech as well. I'm just a service writer, and I really don't have a desire to be a mechanic. But this guy is teaching me so much, even though that's not my job description. What he knows, he's freely giving, he's freely sharing. And just out of the blue, a lot of times he say, "Hey, check this out," and he'll just, he breaks it down, and so that's teaching while leading, in my opinion.
Right.
So, Icy, anything else you want to add to the conversation? And any listeners who are watching tonight, if you have any questions or comments for Tiffany or for Icy, please hit the comment section. It's almost like that icy hot. Depending on how the wind blows, will determine whether it's cold or hot. So careful.
Yeah, but I like to think that I'm very approachable and just down to earth. I do appreciate the platform, again, and so just looking forward to I guess here and beyond.
Here and beyond.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, using those options.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to seeing more of NC's finest. I'm excited for you guys and with you guys, and I want to ride with y'all. So next time you got a ride going on, let your boy know. And if it's all right, I'll tail around in the back or whatever. I just blend in the background, and just we got Sellers Boo Davis. He says Jesus said, "Greater work shall you do." A leader preparing others. Absolutely. And Jonathan, he's from the California area. He says, "Thank you, Prez. I appreciate your thoughts." And so the listeners appreciate you, and as do I. And I know that your job comes with difficulty. I know that my president, Pastor E, his job comes with difficulty. I'm sure I'm not the easiest dude to understand sometimes. And so, I understand that, you guys have a level of pressure that we may never really fully understand, so I do my best to respect that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so you have my utmost respect, Icy, and that's just real talk for you.
All right. Well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All right. We'll be seeing you. Okay, sis?
All right.
Moose says, hey, he says, hey, Tiffany, my wife is a nurse, also 35 years nurse practitioner and 14-year biker. Yeah. So
I
there's
got 24 in.
24 and counting.
I think I've spoke to her before.
Okay, yeah.
On Facebook.
Really nice lady. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
On our way up to Massachusetts the other I think it was last month or whatever it was. We stopped by there to see Moose and his wife, and they boy, I tell you, they fed me some wings, girl. I almost had to stay overnight.
Oh wow. Okay. Now, that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite foods.
Wings.
You didn't ask me that.
Okay. Wings.
Yeah, you gotta know that.
Gotta know that. All right. So I guess wherever we ride to, we're gonna have to stop and get some wings.
Absolutely.
All right. Sounds good.
I can get him to go. I can get him to go or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on, Tiffany. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, folks, there you have it. Retro Philosophy on tonight. We've got Tiffany, aka Icy, president of NC's Finest, and we are grateful to have had her on tonight. Just talking about options and things of that nature. It's important that we understand that options are there, and we need to sometimes seek them out. And because sometimes we're in a situation that we don't have to be in. And we're made to feel or think that we have no other option, but that's not true. All right. So look here, we want you to make sure you share this with somebody, and make sure you catch us next Monday night at same time, 8 p.m. Retro Philosophy Biker Edition. It's your boy Retro, and I'm getting ready to call it a night. Again, we just want to say thank you for being with us on tonight, and you have a good night. All right, guys, take care. God bless you, and heaven smile on you.